This year, the deadline for filing your income taxes is this coming Monday instead of today because of that holiday in Washington, D.C. But as KDKA Money editor John Delano reports, if the extra weekend to do your taxes doesn't help, you might want to consider filing for an extension.
If you haven't filed your federal or state tax returns yet, you are hardly alone.
There's about 60 million people that have to take care of this since Friday a week ago.
One of those 60 million is Professor Brian Menk, a tax professor at Duquesne University.
Paying money before it's due to the government is not something I would recommend to any of my clients. In fact, I haven't paid my taxes yet this year, and I do owe money, and I'll be paying it on Monday.
While most will file their returns on time, Mark Steber, Chief Tax Information Officer at Jackson Hewitt, says millions will seek the 6-month extension to file their returns, citing last year's numbers.
About 11.5 million people filed extension forms. Now, that's the people who took the time to file the form and do it properly. There's another fair share of people who just throw caution to the wind and don't file anything.
To extend, both Steber and Menk say taxpayers must file Form 4868 by Monday. But the extension is only for the paperwork. You still must pay any tax dollars due by Monday or risk paying interest and penalties.
It's not really a true tax extension. It's an extension of time to file the return. But your liability, the money that you owe, is actually due April 18th, regardless of whether you file a tax return or not.
In other words, if you will ultimately owe the government money, and 1 out of 4 taxpayers will, you must send a check to cover what's due along with your request for an extension of time.
It's not an extension of time to pay. So you kind of have to work up the numbers for your tax return to make sure you don't owe. And if you do owe, you pay that balance in with the extension, or you run the risk of a failure to pay penalty.
Suppose you want an extension because you don't have the money to pay what's due. Coming up at 6, I'll tell you what the tax experts recommend. John Delano, KDKA News.